Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the translation of the poem of the Cid by Rita Hamilton and Janet Perry. This is one of the oldest surviving epic poems in Spanish history. It's regularly read by a lot of people growing up and in college and so forth as a part of learning their culture and so forth. I've read it once already for you. My copy of it is here in the Penguin Classics version. I'll link you to this online in case you're interested in picking it up and reading it too. Also, I'm sure that I can find a translation that's older than 1928, which is the current copyright year for those that are legal. So I'll try to find you an older one. But this one reads kind of contemporaneously, whereas those might have a slower read to them. I did this last night and over the last couple of days for about less than 3 hours because it was a pretty quick read, and I already read it once, so I already knew what was happening. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, it's fun. So again, I'll try to link you to the free version online, an older translation, but the language might be older too as a result, whereas this one was much more of a modern translation. And I'll link you to this too in case you're interested in checking out the poem of the Cid in case you've never read it before. So basically what winds up happening in this, and again I keep my reviews spoiler free, so this is divided into 3 sections, and the first section is about Cid's exile from Castile. This is set again centuries and centuries ago during the Spanish Reconquista, which is what the Christians called it, during the years war between the powers that be on the Iberian Peninsula. Most of the people on one side were Christian, most of the people on the other side were Muslim, but there were some mixings about, there were people on either side, and so forth, and then there were bad guys on your side too, and so forth. And this does a good job at showing that. Some of the worst people in this are Christians, and there are also some Muslim allies that are great people to our main character, the Cid. So this actually I think shows a fairly accurate depiction of this era of Iberian back and forth wars between the powers that be. So I think that's pretty cool. But anyway, so that's basically the time period that this is set in. We're going to start off in the first verse with Cid's exile from Castile, one of the powers that be and one of the things that founded Spain, in modern day Spain. So what winds up happening is that he's been kicked out and so forth, and now he's going to go on a journey and so forth. And so the first section then, and the first song, if you will, the first cantar, is what's going to wind up happening with Cid's exile, and he's going to go out there and fight the good fight in this era and set up a kingdom. And the second song, second cantar, is basically him and trying to find and setting up some stuff, doing some more fighting, sure, here and there, more defensively than offensively, and then he's trying to find, and he'll ultimately marry his daughters off to these 2 big people, and so that's a key thing. And then in the third, it's the politics of Spain. Then will rear its head, and our bad guys switch from the people that he's fighting in the fields to the people that he's now going to be fighting politically as he sets himself up to be a power in Castile, and many people that don't like that this new guy has suddenly set himself up. So there's a lot of politics in the third cantar. So you get your wars and battles in the first one, you get some defensive battles in the second one, but then you also get a lot of like him trying to talking about the marriages with his daughters and so forth, and setting himself up in perpetuity. And then in the third cantar, you get his now that he's set himself up as a power that will be one of the most powerful kingdoms in the peninsula. Now he's going to become a target of these things, and now it's political. So it's kind of cool if you're interested in that. And so it has 3 separate angles of attack, if you will, from these 3 separate sections and acts. So it's a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed it. Now the battles definitely seem a little overhanded. Like small numbers are going to be giant numbers, right? And so you might be refuting some of the details of that and disbelieving some of those and so forth. So so you might be disbelieving those sorts of things and so forth that are happening, but it feels definitely like a sort of a grounded version. Now here's a key question that you might ask if you're a clever reader of this channel, because this channel reviews things in the science fiction, fantasy, and horror genres. And is this a fantasy, science fiction, or horror? Well, I would say it's probably in the mythic genre, right? Kind of like older classic things that may not be, that are before that sort of modern three genres, right? It does have two swords in it that will seem to be magical, of a magical nature, that Sid will acquire. But that's pretty much it. And it's hard to beat those people, but maybe they're just really well designed and there's just no magic in it at all. Right, and it definitely seems more grounded, if you will, than other options that are out there that you're typically reading from these things. So there you are. But it's definitely something that's still read today. It's still appreciated today. My copy of it that I'll be linking to you below has a Spanish translation too for modern audiences, in case you speak Spanish, and they're side by side on the pages. So that's pretty cool if you wind up checking that out. Kind of like Beowulf is regularly translated from Old English to Modern English, and some other things that are out there too. So that's kind of cool for modern audiences. So there you are. That is the poem of the Cid. Less than 3 hours for you to knock it out pretty quick and pretty fast. A lot of fun. And it's pretty cool to knock out this epic poem from Spanish history and culture. And definitely has some fun stuff to recommend. And it's still read today and so forth. So have you read the poem of the Cid? If so, what did you think? I'm going to be giving this, because it's hard for me to rate this because I'm not an expert like in Spanish poems, right, or so forth. So I'm giving this, it's definitely well read, very fast. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. But if you agree or disagree with that, let me know in the comments below. If you want to talk about the ending or the spoilers, let's do so in the comments below too. If you enjoyed this video, why not hit that subscribe button? There's going to be a lot more of these to follow. As a reminder, the title of this channel, The Worst Thing About New Books, is a quote by a French philosopher named Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about new books was that they kept us from reading the old ones. And in this case, one of the oldest poems from this era of Spanish history is definitely an older thing that we have sometimes forgotten, right? Also, as a reminder, there are a couple of sections that are missing in this, and so you'll skip ahead, and it'll tell you like where those missing sections are. Finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again. And next up, The Song of Roland, also a Penguin classic. I'll see you next week. Have a good one.